Hello, happy Monday-ish, happy. I don't know. I grew up in a country that really knew who it was in the 80s and 90s. A super proud country, lots of Britpop, lots of UK flags, lots of great British humour, great music, great TVs, you know, whether it was Blankety Blank or cheeky carry-on sitcoms with hilarious sense of humour. At schools in general, we said grace before lunch. We had May days in villages with maypole dancing and May Queens, and we had magical nativities at every school, gorgeous carol singing. You know, we were a really happy, cohesive, strong nation who really knew who it was. And in general, everybody kind of followed the same tune. I never heard of mass stabbings. People didn't get stabbed on trains or waiting at the bank or walking their dog. And it does seem that our country has very much been destroyed by the people who are put in place to serve and protect us. Now, you know, these days we see, instead of carols and gorgeous nativities, often we have barriers, safety barriers at Christmas markets, which are often called winter markets these days because we don't want to cause offence. You know, because we've got so lost as to who we are and what we stand for, and trying to appease everybody. We no longer stand for anything, and we've just become a murky mess of chaos and frightened people. So, you know, we have so many areas that have caused these problems, but bringing men, mainly men, in en masse into this little island known as Britain, from cultures where gang culture is rife, it is part of, you know, the culture they live in small specific areas, you know, not many areas, but in some areas that is how life is. And drugs are rife, and knife crime rampant, murder, you know, something that happens all the time. Nobody bats an eyelid. If you bring in men en masse from such cultures into Blighty, you're obviously going to have an issue. People don't leave their culture at the airport, at the train station, at the bus stop, at the boat. They bring it with them. And even if they don't mean to, having been brought up in that environment, very scary environment, very angry, very violent, whether they mean to or not, again, they often will bring that mentality with them. And then we have lefty liberals in education, in government, in media, pushing this nonsense white privilege rhetoric in schools, wherever, you know, you see it in the media, pulling down statues from our history, saying white man bad, British history bad, saying we need to pay reparations when, you know, masses of white people were slaves and lived in dire situations. Putting that all together and creating a division and making some people see white people as the enemy or people to hate is a recipe for disaster. So people say, you know, well, Rupert Lowe is generally the only person talking sense. And in extreme times, you do need extreme measures. There's no pussyfooting around. You can't namby-pamby with these things. We do need mass deportations of illegal migrants, people that are here not working, or people who aren't British and seemingly push a hateful rhetoric, violent rhetoric, anything like that. All need to be asked or told to leave. And we do need to have a government that's serious and responsible in their primary duty of keeping British people safe. And you might, or you should, if it was me, have a very strict immigration policy where unfortunately you look at certain areas of the world and you say, we can't have people, men in particular, from those areas. Harsh, perhaps, but necessary. You know, we cannot continue to live like this. Kids, women, men, pensioners all deserve to not feel like they need to go about looking for some kind of pepper spray alternative just to go to the shops, get on a train, let your kid go to a concert. We've lived under this burden and shadow for way too long, and for too long our governments have done nothing, and it's time for them to step up and fulfill their basic need of protecting the British public.